Allow me to illustrate for you a familiar scene. You have decided to launch a game of Crucible with the hopes of enjoying a casual and low-stakes game. You love Destiny for its gunplay, yet in a mere moment's notice your loyalty to Bungie is forcibly brought into scrutiny as you are forcibly submitted into a floating ghost and a respawn screen counting down from 5. You check what weapon befell you, and it is that weapon. Different from player to player, from season to season, from game mode to game mode, but it is the irk that spikes a certain frustration and contempt for your play session. This weapon could take the form of something like the Immortal, the Lemon Arc, the Jotun, or any other infamous item, but its exact features matter not. This weapon system, the player's build, their armor, or any other facet of what brought you to the death screen is the current embodiment of something you despise. It, in some way, represents someone who values winning more than having fun. Of course, winning is often fun, but because this arrangement of gear, their choice to run it in this casual mode, or some other undefinable decision is now before you, it puts that bitter taste in your mouth. You know that this representation of what you dislike cannot be held accountable, for they are simply chasing the same carrot on the stick as you. Yet you did not choose the easy road. You are proud that while your off-meta build is not as powerful, it took more thought, more planning, more creativity to piece together. And it is about to force them to feel your pain sevenfold. Welcome to Stupid Builds, where I will show you, some stupid builds. Some of these builds are our own creation, some are from our live stream chat, but all of them are stupid because of how strong they secretly are. It is a well-known fact among off-meta scholars that the Cryosthesia is a disgustingly strong weapon that is only held back from frequently making company with the top 10 most used weapons only because it requires some setup. You must secure at least one kill without any assisting weapon perks in order to see value. However, when you are able to secure a kill, this weapon is capable of chaining kills from guardian to guardian like an iceborne plague. This build takes full advantage of an underappreciated buff to the fragment Whisper of Rending, which grants bonus primary weapon damage to frozen targets. I am shocked that most people don't discuss how much range this sidearm has. This weapon feels like a hand cannon with how easy it is to reach out and tap someone, especially with Fallout now being available for every weapon. It certainly isn't the fastest of times to kill, but its ease of use and range are quite respectable. Kill, load, freeze, and repeat, like a bad pop song in a grocery store. This summary of the build could suffice those of you who are willing to settle for merely annoying your enemy, rather than compelling them to fear your presence. But for the rest of us, we want to watch the world burn. Or freeze? What's worse than one easy-peasy Lemon Arc freezy tool? 5 of them. Osiomancy gloves are, in my professional opinion, the young Umkara's spine of cold snap grenades. They are hard to counter, often lethal, and chain into themselves. Equipping the Aspect Ice Flare bolts allows us to call an audible on any Cryosthesia freeze with a shatter to chain Ice Flare bolts to all targets in the immediate vicinity. And might I add, freezing a target, then swapping over for a quick sniper kill might possibly be the best form of bad manners in this game. Like, it is utterly and irredeemably disrespectful. I encourage you to do 12 of them a game. But let's go for even more disrespect by keeping another instant freezing ability always ready to fire. Glacial Harvest grants us stasis shards whenever we freeze a target. Glacier shards provide melee energy, and now every freeze grants us melee energy. I run this with the fragment Whisper of Torment to grant me grenade energy whenever I take damage. Ironically, most people end up feeding into our Whisper of Torment when we are chaining the Cryosthesia on them, because they panic fire a few desperate shots at us right as the ice releases them. It's tragic and hilarious. From here, we choose Whisper of Hedrons for nearly permanently increased stats, and Rhyme for a bit of health or overshield from our stasis shards. This build has cemented itself as a new favorite of mine. I am fairly certain I've gained at least 1,000 kills just from this weekend because of it. My sniper is a simple snapshot opening shot macabre to provide the build the flexibility it needs to be a threat in all environments. And for my mods, I keep it simple with things like grenade kickstart, unflinching, and targeting mods. You can take a look at the rest of my mods and such here, but do not try to get this build nerfed for me, please? Let's keep this our little off-meta secret. I want to use it without it catching a nerf when the stasis buff comes. I give this 9 McFlurries out of 3 broken ice cream machines. Who is making this rating system? This next one came from Livestream with the intention of being a lethal platform of annoyance and mobility. Thorn is surprisingly rare in today's sandbox, but that doesn't negate what made it so powerful so many metas ago. Getting 1 kill and picking up the soul-devouring orb grants increased poison damage for a quick 2-tap on lower resilience targets. But it has always had a drawback of not being able to locate and chain these kills easily enough. Until today, that is. Strand Hunter has the easiest access to the map-traveling grapple ability, and with Triarachne's Facade, we have a layer of protection upon landing. This, as well as our quick-draw opening shot slug shotgun, allows us to weave in and out of combat with a cadence and rhythm that makes the battlefield adapt to you, not you to it. Our rope dart melee is a nice in-between tool for our shotgun and our thorn, and of course we cannot forget the underhanded pitches that the suspending dive serves to us. My only hesitation with this build is the thorn itself. For some reason, the weapon has never seemed to get along with me. Something about its recoil or muzzle flash, I'm not sure. You, however, will probably not have this issue, so give this a try and let me know how it feels. As for our mods again, we are keeping it simple with unflinching, utility kickstart, and grenade kickstart. My fragments are designed around ability uptime and weapon efficiency. I use Thread of Mind, Ascent, Continuity, and Generation. Good builds. 1 holy hand grenade out of 3 elderberries. I swear, I'm not understanding your reference and rating system! Okay, so remember how we had a Trespasser build last time and said it needs just a little bit of tweaking to be brilliant? I present to you, Trespasser is Good 2.0. This build makes use of the damage that the Trespasser outputs from its unrepentant burst to set up an easy chain of kills from the Caliban's hand. We are doing this obviously on Gunslinger Hunter with the proximity knife. All of our fragments are built around causing and spreading scorch and more deadly ignitions. For our primary, we are using the Psychopatient, but any 390 pulse will suffice with a semi-competent roll. This build is incredibly simple to understand. Get a Trespasser kill whenever you can, then either chain the Repentant Burst through targets in close quarters combat, or go for the Caliban's ignition chain at longer ranges or in higher enemy densities. I think I would prefer a more traditional kinetic, or maybe a bow with a quick swap setup, just so I have a slightly better burst damage tool at range. Regardless of my hesitations, there is quite a lot of potential present here, particularly the perfect Trespasser baton pass to the proximity knife. If you like the idea of one knife getting the upwards of 3 kills, give this one a go. If you aren't a fan of the Trespasser or sidearms in general, definitely steer clear of this, as most of my fights ended up using the Trespasser. I give this 14 blueberries out of 5 jalapenos. What is this rating system? Someone please explain! A question for you. Do you want more suspending barricades in your life? Do you like playing as a team player? Is your favorite flavor of crayon green? Then I have a build you will enjoy! This is an older off-meta build, but its reappearance for a Strand setup is quite enjoyable. We are using the Vigilance Wing, a slightly underperforming pulse rifle with some unique exotic perks that grant healing and mobility when a nearby ally dies. This we are synergizing with the Sector Vigor mod from the Aeon Safe exotic gauntlets. Between these two, whenever an ally dies, we gain health, movement speed, handling, and 25% of our barricade energy back. When we take these buffs and apply them to our Strand Titan, we suddenly have a build that grants us a nearly permanent uptime on our barricade. This means we can aggressively engage on targets using our barricade as a sort of battering ram to open up the show. We were given a perfect map for our build to stretch its legs in, and once again I am reminded of how, I think people are referring to the feeling as mid, this pulse rifle is. Consistent, sure, but with a time to kill of 1 second, it struggles to compete at the ever-increasing speed of longer-range weapons like high-impact or rapid-fire pulses. Despite this, the synergy presented between these two exotics cannot be ignored. This doesn't scale well in 3-man game modes, but in 6v6 environments, you transform into a pulse rifle-wielding John Wick, and every player becomes your puppy. I give this 3 Netflix originals out of 1 blockbuster. You know, I've given up on this system. If you've made it this far, I suggest you subscribe. Your personal health depends on it. Anyways, our final build takes a bit from our Cryosthesia build and a bit from our Caliban's Hand build, and creates a combo that gives us the tools to make a primary weapon one-shot a full health Guardian. This is accomplished with the Cryosthesia and a bow with Harmony. Prime a target with the bow, use a quick swap mod to finish with the sidearm, then the bow gets Harmony and you get a Freeze Blast ready to go. By itself, this is fairly solid, and fairly reminiscent of our King's Fang build. But the creator of this build woke up and chose violence because we're pairing this with the young Amkara's Spine, and an acrobatic dodge. With the 10% bonus damage from Radiant, and the 20% from Harmony, our bow is now dealing damage equivalent to the pre-nerfed Ward of Dawn weapon buff for 10 seconds. This means that after getting a kill, which we can make easier on ourselves with the Spine, we can either get a melee hit with Ember of Torches, or just simply dodge for a 10-second window of being practically uncontestable by any man, woman, or child. But alas, our crusade of skull piercing is a bit slow to recharge, as our Radiant dodge takes more than a minute to refund. Even without the damage combo, a quick swap on a frozen target is both hilarious and effective. The only downside is how long it takes for you to secure the final blow. Yes, you will most assuredly get that final blow, but you will need the rest of the enemy team to leave you alone for, not even exaggerating, 3 seconds. It's sort of like killing someone with a rusty spoon. Slow and painful, but it will undoubtedly work. Leave a like if you want more bi-weekly stupid builds. Bless your faces, and deuces.